So welcome, Jordan, to the BEL show. This is your first time joining me for a video, but you've been a moderator for a long time. You've been a supporter of the BEL channel for a long time. Do you want to take a second and kind of introduce yourself?
I don't know how to do a better introduction than that. Just been a fan of the channel.
Been a fan of music for a long time. You went. How many concerts you go to last year?
I went to probably like 15. I kind of went a little crazy, but who
Totally
knows
worth
what will
it.
happen this year.
Totally worth
Yeah.
it. And you've seen a lot of these names too. Some of them.
Some of them I have. Yeah, some of them I have.
So we're basically winging this. I'm going to try to chop out all the weird stuff, try to make it look as smooth and least awkward as possible. But we do have our kind of like what we prioritized as the big ones for the Grammys. We're going to go through our thoughts and we'll give some sort of, if we feel like something's valuable to talk about, if we have value to talk about it, then we'll talk about it. And if not, we might just kind of blow past it. And I apologize if that's your favorite artist. I'm sure they deserve all the love in the world, but this is our video. So here we are. So let's start with the big one, album of the year.
All right.
Is that the
So
big
we're going to
one?
go through each nominee. Yes, that's like the final award they always give out at the end, and it's always the one people are the most upset about.
Okay. So this was an interesting list because I knew just about all the artists on the list, but I was not familiar with all their newest projects. And I'll toast you for that because you send me a lot of these artists.
All right. Well, first on my list is John Batiste's album, World Music Radio.
Yep.
So I had always heard of him, but I never like dug into his work. So this is my first time hearing a project by him. I actually enjoyed it. It's a cool album, and I see why it got acclaim. Yeah, there were some cool songs on there in terms of for album of the year. Me personally, I'm not too sure.
Really? Okay.
I enjoyed the project, but I don't know if I could see myself revisiting every song.
I agree with
But I
that.
definitely enjoyed this project overall, though.
There was 21 songs on this one, so that is a lot of songs to try to fall in love with.
That is.
And it sat at about an hour and some odd minutes. For sure, it was over an hour. I can't remember. 5 minutes, maybe?
I think an hour. Yeah, something like that.
I thought it was a really cool vibe. I thought that it had really cool features. I liked the like world radio thing. But same thing, man. Like some real hot ones. Some were just kind of like they were there. I might have to go revisit them to maybe like fall in love with them some more. But it was a cool record all in all.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'd seen from John was a reel of him playing piano. He was playing for Elise. And then and he switched, so he just plays it normal. Then he goes into the blues and he makes it real bluesy, and then he goes into gospel, and it's like, oh shit, like this dude's that musician. Like, wow.
I can't put my finger on where I've seen him. Well, I do know I've seen him on like different TV performances or whatever, but I've never like dug into his actual music. So based on what I saw, I was expecting this to be like a jazz blues type album. So I was surprised when I actually listened to it. I was like, oh, okay.
It's kind of like upbeat. It's got a lot to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I dug the project. I also did not have it as my album of the year nominee.
Okay.
But I thought it was a total vibe. And yeah, most of my notes were just like I liked the worldly feel. I liked that it was like a radio show, and I liked all the features too. It felt like a real solid project.
Yeah.
Who you got next on your list?
Okay. Next on my list is The Record by Boy Genius.
Okay.
So going into this, I've never heard, at least to my knowledge, I've never heard their music. I do know it's individually, I want to say it's 3 different people. If I'm wrong, my apologies.
Let us know.
But Phoebe Bridgers, I knew of her, and I heard her on one of the projects we're going to talk about later. So I was interested to hear how it sounds. I actually enjoyed the album. I thought it had a pretty cool sound. I didn't put it as my pick for album of the year, but overall I did think it had a cool sound. And I would revisit some of the songs on it.
Interesting. Okay. I wrote down that Boy Genius had lots of skips for me, actually, the record.
Oh, really?
The first song in the 7/8 time, it like took me forever to figure out like what was going on, and I usually like that, so that caught my attention. But then after that, it all just kind of went on for me. So that was also not one of my top picks. but it was not one that I like connected with real quickly. And I also had heard of I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Phoebe Bridgers.
Phoebe Bridgers.
Sorry, yeah.
Bridgers, yeah.
And that made me kind of like look into the Boy Genius things. I think you're right. I think there's like 3 of them, and I think that there's like Boy Genius and then 2 actual names that go with it, right?
I think it's 3. I could be wrong.
I could be wrong. I can't remember.
Actually, let me look it up real quick.
Look it up. You got it.
So we don't sound like idiots.
Yeah, it wasn't. I understood it to an extent. One of the songs gave me like real Simon and Garfunkel vibes. I can't remember the song off the top of my head either, and I've been racking my brain for it. But when I think of it, I'll post it somewhere or something. So that was cool. I just I realized that I don't understand the whisper vocal.
Okay. Sometimes I vibe with it.
Okay.
So it just depends on like what's the overall sound. I can get with the whisper, especially like not necessarily. I don't know, what genre would you describe this as?
It was kind of like I would call this indie folk, but I know that that's not what it's like called anymore. Like in the early 2000s, that's kind of what it was called, but.
Okay, but just in general, like that whisper vocal.
Oh, that. Oh, okay.
Some are, yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying like the Boy Genius's album. I don't know necessarily what genre to call it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool. Like the whisper vocals were cool. But I was gonna say also in like some R&B type songs, also vibe with.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how it's used and like how it overall sounds.
That's fair. Did you find that Boy Genius thing, or am I distracting you?
Yeah, so it does, like, I'm on Spotify, and it does say Boy Genius, and it has Julian Baker, Phoebe Bridgers, and then Lucy Dacus.
Oh, it has all 3 names. Okay.
So 3, yeah.
That's an interesting way of doing that. I wonder why that is.
Probably, maybe, like, if you're a fan of Phoebe, and you want to find that album, you could easily find it on her profile.
That makes sense. Okay. But yeah, I wrote, I get the indie folk thing. I guess I just missed it, and that's fine. I did think it was kind of cool. I thought that the intro with the 7/8 time, like I said, that was really unexpected, and it did catch my attention. And then just from there, I didn't get picked back up again, but that's okay. I got nothing bad against it.
All right. So next up, I have Endless Summer Vacation.
Great record.
By Miley Cyrus. It is. This is an album that I actually played throughout all of last year.
Okay.
And so I don't have this as my album of the year pick, but I will not be upset if it wins. I'll put it that way.
I basically said the same thing. I said I don't think it's gonna win album of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if it does well, and I wouldn't be upset if it did. What did you think it was?
It definitely.
You go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You listened to it more than I did because you've like been bumping it for a minute. Do you think? Can you talk to me about how cohesive the project feels to you?
Okay, what do you know about the structure or like the structure of the album?
Of the album, nothing.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm asking.
So it's designed to where you probably noticed like the first half was like sort of slower. And then as it transitioned, it was like more upbeat.
Like kind of almost,
I guess you could describe it or something
almost,
like that.
Right?
Yeah. So it was designed to where the first half of the album is AM and the second half is PM. So when you get to like Handstand, you notice like that transition as it goes into the more fun, I don't want to say fun, but like
more electronic
your upbeat
kinda
dance songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the design of it.
Okay. Because I wrote that it wasn't super cohesive, and then I scratched it out and I wrote, it's getting more cohesive. So I think like I just got like alarmed by the switch, and then it was like, kind of cool after that, right?
Yeah.
Because again, like,
because
I just want to make clear that like I like switches. I don't think it all needs to be like one project that all flows together. I'm just trying to like put my head in what I think is going to do well from like a nominations point, right? So those were my points.
And then sometimes I'll say albums sound like one long song, and I don't necessarily like that. So I appreciate when albums explore different styles, different sounds, and things like that.
Yeah. All right. I'm with you. I like that. I appreciate you explaining that to me too.
Yeah, so it wasn't my album of the year pick, but Miley Miley is too iconic not to have a Grammy at this point. So it's like, will I be upset? No. But
But
yeah,
you're not going to be let down too, right?
yeah.
I got you. 14 songs, 46 minutes, 32 seconds. Songs are getting shorter and shorter this year.
Oh, Miley's?
Yeah.
Oh, and then Used to Be Young wasn't on the album when it dropped.
Oh.
That got added like months later, so that album was even shorter.
Oh, shit. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, who you got next?
Next I have is Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard?
That's the Lana Del Rey one, right?
Yes.
All right.
So I don't have this as my album of the year pick. Honestly, how I feel is that it's not particularly my cup of tea. Like it didn't sound bad, but I guess that style of music is not necessarily my favorite. Now, with me saying that, there are some songs I look back at Lana's career that I enjoyed, like Young and Beautiful, National Anthem, Summertime Sadness. There are some songs there, but I don't know if a project particularly is my cup of tea. So it was just like the overall vibe wasn't necessarily fitting for me. What do you think?
I had the same thing, man. Like it came in like with a soft start, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It just like wasn't like a blow the wall down. And then from there, I was like, I was like, what song am I on? And I was like at the end of the record, and I went, like it sounds nice. It's like the instrumentals and the
Yeah.
recording and everything. It's all beautiful. It's just it just wasn't for me.
Mm. I remember a couple of years ago, her last project or the project before was nominated for Album of the Year, and it was a lot of buzz like, oh, she might actually win. And I don't think she won. I could be wrong, but I think that might have been the album that John Batiste won Album of the Year.
Interesting.
So I could be wrong on that, but I remember there was a lot of buzz about her winning. And so it could be a chance that this is the year where it happens. So
You know what? Like, when I was looking for the record on Spotify, some of her older projects are way, way, way further ahead than this one. So I actually
in terms of numbers,
in terms of numbers, like searchability, everything. Like when I looked it up on Spotify,
really?
I had to look it up. I had to Google it to find out what the record looked like so I could find it on Spotify, and it was below a few records. So that must mean that either it's more like it dropped recently, or it's not getting the same views and attention as the other projects. That's what my first takeaway was.
Yeah, sometimes like Spotify, they'll put recent releases like you have to go into their discography to like find it. Um so I mean it could be either one. I do remember like when it dropped, there was some noise about it, at least from my bubble on like social media.
I got you.
So I knew the project had dropped. I just hadn't heard anything from it because I wasn't necessarily looking for it.
Yeah, I got you on that. Yeah, it wasn't really my thing. I don't have it for record of the year, and it wasn't on my radar. So if it does well, then congratulations, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay, next one is The Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe.
Yep.
So this, I have this as one of my possible album of the years.
Same, bro. Same.
This was a great album. I remember when it dropped last year. Like this is a perfect summer album. Like just excellent. Like from the first track, Float, I was playing that in my car like almost every day. Like this is a good project. So I will be happy if Janelle takes it. Yeah, just overall great album.
Yep, absolutely agreed. Features were a blast. The instrumentals were like crazy. Ton of fun. Yeah. I put that one as like a potential winner. And I'd be excited about that one. I like that one too.
Yeah, it's one of those like this is something that I look for. Like when you tell me album of the year, it's like I want to see an album where I can point to and be like, wow, that was a great album. Like years later, like because people like to say, like quote unquote, you don't necessarily have like eras anymore within music. something like that. But it's just like when someone drops like a great body of work where you can say like that was an album, like it excites me. So she's definitely one of my top picks.
Good, man. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, I don't got much to say. 14 songs, 32 minutes, 4 seconds. Quick project, but like keep them coming, man. I would have gone through that one a few more times if I had the time, but yeah, definitely agreed. It was like pretty early. I was like, I think this one could do it. That was my opinion. So,
Yeah.
all right, that was a quick one.
All right. Next up is Guts by Olivia Rodrigo.
Yes. So now this is my first real introduction to Olivia.
Okay.
I've seen TikToks of her. I've probably heard a song on the radio or two. Like I recognize that vampire song.
Mhm.
And I actually thought that this was a pretty cool record. I also did not have it as my album of the year though.
I didn't either, but I really enjoyed the record more than I was expecting to.
Okay.
So when Vampire dropped, I liked the song, and so like I was interested to finally hear more. Because I did hear her first album, and I thought it was okay. But going into the second one, I was like, oh wow, I really like this.
Mhm.
So I was pleased with it, and I played the album like a couple of times since it's been out. So I don't necessarily have it as my album of the year, but I do think it's a good album.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it kind of had like a punk feel, but kind of like a modern folk feel. Kind of like played on
Mhm.
both real well. So for me, it felt like the inspirations were really obvious, but it felt like a newer kind of project still with like the attention to the breathy vocals we were talking about before and like a little bit of finger picking guitar, but a little bit of that like pushback attitude and kick the door down attitude and.
Yeah, I actually found that some of my like favorite moments on the album weren't necessarily like the rock moments. It was more of like the I don't know, like it's not quiet, but like mellow-ish type moments.
Mhm.
Because I remember like you mentioned Vampire. Um, there was a song Lacey, I want to say it's called.
Or
And
Lace or
then
Lacey, yeah.
Lacey, yeah, Making the Bed. Just some of those songs are the ones that like really stuck out to me.
I gotcha. I
So
gotcha.
yeah,
What did you
overall it's a good
think?
album.
What did you think of the last song being called "Teenage Dream"? I don't know if you remember it.
My thoughts are blanking on it, but I do remember.
It's like a sad
You may have
breakup
to refresh
song.
my
It's
memory.
like
Okay.
it's kind of like the Miley song that I can't remember right now, but she's basically saying like I know I used to be your teenage dream, or like I used to be that for you, and now I'm not because we've changed. And you're looking at it like a
Mhm.
bad thing, and I'm looking at it like it is what it is. But I thought it was an interesting play off the old Katy Perry song, because that was like the whole thing. It was like I could be this person for you, and now she's saying I'm not that
Mhm.
anymore, right? That was
Yeah.
my kind of pull from it because it caught my attention right away. I was like, that's a Katy Perry song. I wonder if it's a cover, but it was this like sad heartbreak song.
Yeah, I do remember liking it, but necessarily is blanking on my mind right now.
That's okay. That's
I need
okay.
to go revisit it.
Don't worry about it. Who's next? Who do we have left?
Okay, next is Midnights by Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get myself in trouble with this. Swifties, I love you. I've seen Taylor Swift, been to the concert. Just this style of Taylor Swift isn't for me. I don't get it.
It's not necessarily for me either. It's not. I've heard some of Taylor's albums and I've liked them, like 1989, Evermore. I really liked. I've been playing that like past couple of months, like a good amount of times. This project, it's not necessarily my cup of tea. I listened to it when it first came out, October 22, I want to say. And so from there, that first listen, there were about 3 or 4 songs that I took that I was like, oh, these are the standouts to me. And so I revisited it earlier today, actually, maybe for the first time, like listening all the way through. And I did have basically the same thoughts that I have or that I had back then. And it's not necessarily the album for me, and that's okay.
Hmm.
I will say, like, the songs that I took away were Lavender Haze. Honestly, I think that's one of her best songs. Like,
I vibe with
I
that one
remember when
too.
I heard it, I remember when I first heard it, I was like, "Oh, this what we doing? I'm here for it! Like, let's go!" Like that just took me by surprise. I was like, "Okay." It was that one, Karma, Antihero, and then I do remember liking Maroon.
Okay.
But overall, as a project, it just wasn't gelling for me.
Yeah. And I do think that the songs will translate live because I do plan on reacting to a lot of the live ones. And I think live I'll probably vibe with them a lot more. But for the record, like it wasn't my thing. And I got no problems with it. It just wasn't for me. I put it as my
Yeah.
might win or probably will win for album of the year.
I actually went and saw her concert movie,
Oh right. How was it?
The Airs. Yeah, it was actually pretty good. And so like she performed some of these songs live. And for me personally, it was just I I enjoyed it for what it was, but it wasn't necessarily something that I'd want to revisit. Because I think this is the first time me hearing the album since seeing the concert film. So I was like, oh, will my opinion like change on these songs? And for the most part, they didn't. It was just like they're okay, but it's not necessarily something that I would go and revisit.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that. And I did like we'll talk about this later. Karma with who was on that one?
Ice Spice.
Ice Spice. That's it. Yeah. That was cool. Great feature. Cool, song's cool already. But yeah, the same thing, man. Like I say it with love, but I'm not going back. I'm not going to go back to the record.
The last one is SOS by SZA.
23 songs.
This is what I have as my pick. This is what I have.
This is the one, eh?
This is the one.
I like this project, bro.
That I remember when this came out. It was like December, must have been December 22. And so it was a lot of hype. And it's rare for the hype to meet the project, like to live up to the expectations. So I was like, okay, I'm just go in. When I heard that album was like on repeat for like months. Like I still play songs to this day from that album. Like that's just a good album. And just it's like everything is like aesthetically pleasing, like from the album cover. Like I have that album on vinyl and I don't even have a vinyl player.
Perfect.
So it's just a good album.
Yep. Yeah, I love this one, man. The flows right out of the gates were so smooth. Beats and features were great. I wrote in here, I think it's going to do really well too.
Yeah, and then it shows that you can have like different styles, different sounds, explore different genres within an album, and it still be great.
Well, you can still make it work, right? Like, because that felt like a more cohesive project to me than some of the other ones we've talked about. You know what I mean? To me, again, to me.
Yeah,
and that was a big introduction to me of SZA. Because like I think I maybe seen one or two of her videos, maybe.
Okay.
I hear lots about her though, and listen to the record. I was like, yeah, man, this is cool. I could hang out with this for a little while, right? So I'm with you, totally with you.
Yeah. So I will have SOS as who I think should win.
Okay.
Who I think will win. That's where it gets kind of tricky. Because I would love for SOS to win, and I think it does have a chance at winning.
Can I say something quick before you make your next statement here? I am truly curious about like what the mood is going to be for the Grammys. Like, is it going to be like a self-worth kind of a overarching feeling? Is it going to be like a world of music and like John's going to get like a nice step out? Like, where's the criteria going to fall this year, right? And I know that they don't announce stuff like that, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. It all depends on voters and how they feel, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, you've won before, we're not going to give it to you. Or they could just be like, hey, let's just give it to this person. So there's many different theories about how people vote. Some people will say, oh, it's the amount of writers. How many writers do you have credited on your album? Did you write all of your songs? And honestly, people just look for different things. So it is what it is. Sometimes the Grammys like to go with the popular choice, or sometimes they just like to go completely left field and go
stir the shit up
they want. Yeah,
No names.
so yeah, it's just it is what it is. I'm rooting for SOS though.
Okay.
I have seen people say Midnight's may take it. That I'm not sure based on the fact that I think Taylor has won like album of the year like 3 times
She's a
already.
Grammy magnet, though. They love giving her big Grammys.
Some people argue about that and
That's
say not
fair.
necessarily, but I don't know. Will I be shocked if Midnight's wins? No, but I will say, looking at the list, my top albums are SOS, Age of Pleasure. I'll say those are the top two for me.
Okay. Okay. I think it's gonna be either, I don't know, man. I feel like either T Swift, Miley, or Olivia might win it. I would like to see SZA or John Batiste, and I would be happy with a Miley win on that one too. That's about all I got to say about
Yeah.
that one.
Okay.
All right, move on to the next one.
Yep.
Record.
Record of the year.
So now I got one.
Actually,
You go ahead.
go ahead.
I got one really
I was
nasty
gonna say
comment.
like every time. Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the Discord's delaying us a second. But I watched a cover of this Billie Eilish song, and one person was like, "That sounds like a dying cat," and I was like, "She sang it note for note for how the song is. Like, what are you talking about?"
I've only seen. Have you seen that TikTok where there's a woman singing this song and like she mispronounces the words?
No.
It like went viral because I forgot what the actual words are, but she said like although enjoyment or something like that.
Oh no.
And it just went viral.
Oh
And
shit.
it was funny because even like Billie was singing this live like in concert and she started singing it like that, representing that TikTok.
Love that. Love that.
For record and song of the year, I always have to look up what's the difference. Yeah, song of the year is songwriters.
Okay.
So
So
record of the year is
everyone in their
the
dog.
artist produced. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, tell me what you thought of "What Was I Made For" by Billie Eilish.
I liked it. So I actually went and saw Barbie. So that's where I first heard the song. And so this is a song I don't have it as my pick, but I am aware that it could be, I don't know if you call it, is it a dark horse or something like that? Like a that could win it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, something like that. Because it's nominated for a lot of like the major movie awards, like the Oscars, Golden Globes, and it's won those awards. So that's why I'm like, it could be a song that sneaks in and takes it.
Yeah. It is a cool song, man. Like, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, it's engaging for a ballad, especially for like how stripped back it is. And the relatability of it is really, really, really high. Because I have not seen the movie and I still vibe with the song. So, like, it must not be dependent on that, right?
No, it's not. Because even in the movie, it like plays during. It's not, I guess, a song you could look at and be like, oh, this was specifically written only for this movie and it only works with this movie. So, yeah.
Okay, I got you. I think that one, I agree with you. I think that one could do okay. I wrote that it could be like a secret sleeper almost, because I also couldn't think of the word. But I didn't have it for my top pick for record of the year either.
Okay. Let's see. Worship by John Batiste.
Yep.
That one I don't have as my pick, but I do remember on the album, I was like, oh, this is a pretty cool song.
Same feel. Love the energy of it. Didn't think that it was going to be record of the year, but real cool song.
All right. Not Strong Enough by Boy Genius. What did you think?
I just wrote, I don't understand. Like, it's cool. It sounds good. It just, I don't know.
So I will admit, doing all of my research and listening to all these projects and all these different songs, this is one of the songs that I'm currently blanking on.
Oh, yeah?
But I I do remember like on their album, it wasn't a song where I was like, "Oh, I don't like this." But overall, I thought it was
I
pretty
wasn't
cool.
offended or upset by any of the songs. I just didn't like, none of them made me stop what I was doing and be like, who is this again? Like, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
All right. So I'm glad we're
Next up, "Flowers" by Miley Cyrus.
obviously a jam.
This is a song. There's two songs on here where I'm like, I want them to win, and "Flowers" is one of them because literally this is something that you can look at and be like, this was the song of the year. Like when it came out, it just blew up and it
Mm-hmm.
just kept going.
And she was
So
looking
this
good.
song was literally exactly. This song was just everywhere. And so also I think he's a Grammy. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like when you say a record of the year, "Flowers."
Like of this list, that's the only one. And again, like I'm not trying to say that I'm that guy. It's just like I'm removed from pop culture when it comes to music. But that's the only song in this that I could sing top to bottom. And that's got to say
Mhm.
something about reach or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Great for relatability too. Because like if I'm a judge, let's just say, if I'm someone that's like casting a vote, and if I felt anything familiar with that song, you got me. Like it is what it is, right? Like it's I don't know, it's so good.
Yeah. And then it's really interesting because she essentially dropped this song and just disappeared.
Just and just as a diss, basically too, right?
Yeah.
Like
So
yeah,
it's like, yeah, there's more to that, but she essentially dropped it and just disappeared. We were like, where are you? Like, and so for the song to do that well and still take off, that says something.
yep. I had that one as my potential for record of the year.
Right. Next up is "On My Mama" by Victoria Monet.
A
So
banger,
I
bro.
will say this was my second pick for record of the year because give Victoria Monet her things.
Yep. She needs nice things.
Like is when you can take a sample like that and still make it like your own and just have it be a feel good song. When a video dropped, everyone was like, yes, bring back choreo in music videos. And it's just overall a vibe. And I'm just here for Victoria Monet getting all of her things.
Because that's the one with the like the chant or like the how did you describe that to me?
Oh, you talking about the "On My Mama, On My Hood"?
That
Yeah,
part.
that sample part. Yeah,
Yeah. Genius though. Because that's that same thing
yeah.
that I was talking about earlier where it's like it's inspired by, but it's like more fun. Because if you'd have
Mhm.
never told me, I just thought it was part of the song. But for all you guys that know what it is,
Yeah.
it's like, oh shit, like she might mix this in. Like, cool. Right?
Yeah, that was one of the songs I remember like hearing on the radio, like growing up. And so essentially, I remember she previewed this song at one of her concerts. She did like a show like months before the album dropped, and she previewed this song. And essentially, I didn't recognize it at first. I don't even know if I heard like that chorus part, but people like heard it from like the lyrics, and she sort of like interpolates, does her own spin on the lyrics. And so when people picked that up, I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, that's definitely one of my top songs.
Yeah. Give her the nice stuff, man. Give her the nice stuff.
Exactly.
Who left? We got
Okay, Vampire. Vampire, I enjoyed the song. Like when it dropped, I played it. I don't have it as my record of the year. If it wins, I'm trying to see, will I be shocked? Slightly. I'll give it slightly. I'll be shocked if it wins.
I thought it was cool. Like it's a very relatable song. I think that it'll do well if that kind of a vibe is what they're kind of looking for that night. Like, you know, after the first couple of words, probably be able to be like, yeah, they're going for that kind of thing or not. But I did not have it on my like top. I didn't like out of this group. I didn't even have a top 3 for my picks.
Okay.
I wouldn't be upset, but
Yeah. Funny enough, record, song, and album of the year are always like the last. They tend to be the last 3 awards of the night.
those are the big ones, right?
Yeah.
did this in reverse order.
So yeah.
That's okay.
Okay. Next up is Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift. So I don't have this as record of the year, but this is one of the ones where I was like, I won't be surprised if it wins.
I wrote that too. I said it'll probably win or do really well. I said, but it's not my pick.
Mhm.
I don't even think.
Yeah, like it's a good song. Like I enjoy it, but I just don't have it as my pick.
Yeah. I think that I think Taylor's gotten into this bag of like where she's gotten really proficient, really good at writing like her narrative and her story. I just think that I'm outside of that narrative. And I think that's why it doesn't connect to me, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like I don't know people that go through that same stuff as her, as she writes about. I don't feel those same things obviously that she's writing about. Like it just doesn't connect to me. So I have a harder time with Taylor for
Okay.
some reason.
I mean, that's fair because necessarily I don't necessarily need to relate to songs all the time. Like if it's the overall experience where it sounds good, it feels good, I'll go with it. I do remember for this song in particular, I generally liked it when it dropped, and then I kind of forgot about it. But I was watching. Do you watch You? That show on Netflix.
No, what is it?
So not to go off on a tangent, but
That's okay.
essentially, I was watching like the last season of that, the latest season, and then in the show they used that song and started playing, and it just fits so well with whatever is happening. Like I'm not gonna drop any spoilers in case anyone watching hasn't seen it, but if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, and you see how it was perfect for that moment. And so that sort of like reintroduced me to it. I was like, oh, let me play this a couple of
It
times.
hits a little different, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. So you say you wouldn't be surprised if that one won, but you didn't have it on your radar.
No, I don't have it as my top picks for who I want to win, but I won't be surprised if it wins.
Okay. Yep, fair enough. Okay.
Hey, and the last one is Kill Bill by SZA. So, okay, because I played this song out like when it dropped. And so, for specifically record of the year, and you'll see why I'm saying this later on, but for specifically record of the year, I don't have it as my winner's pick. Will I be upset if it wins? No, but I don't have it as my pick.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I think this will be another one of those case dependent ones. I think it could do really well. I think that it could also not place, we'll call it. When I say place, I mean like first or second, like as tiering or however that would be. But the wordplay in that one specifically, I thought was a lot of fun, and it was relatable still. So I could see that one
Yeah.
resonating with a lot of people. It's going to show up later again in our list. I don't think for record of the year though that it'll win. I wouldn't be upset though. It was a fun project.
It was.
There's a whole bunch of me being real vanilla and just being like, yeah, it's cool. Someone should win. Anyways.
Look, you listen to a lot of songs within the past couple of days, so blame you if you don't have much thoughts because it's probably all gelling together.
A little bit. I remember Kill Bill because that's the one where she's talking about killing her boyfriend. And she's like very clever about it. That's what I really dug about that one. It's like, it's right there for you, but it's still really clever. It's not like you have to listen to it 100 times to catch all the double entendres and you have to have someone explain it to you. It's like, it's there, it's digestible, and it's good. It's just, I think that one will also be dependent on what the vibe of the night is. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I did start listening to a lot of these like around nomination time. I just started buckling down yesterday. So, but anyways, any other thoughts on that?
Song of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, Kill Bill or the category?
The category. I was just gonna ask if you had anything else and we move on.
No, not really. Just generally, my top two picks are Flowers and Oh My Mama.
Yeah, I'll agree with those.
Who I want to win. Yep. And then I would say who I think will win. Honestly, I could see them going either way for any of the nominees for Record of the Year.
Fair enough. Tough class, eh?
Because Record of the Year, I want to say like Record of the Year and Song of the Year, sometimes they like throw like a curveball in there where it's like that one. And so it's like, it's not necessarily like any of these songs are bad. It's just I could see it going to anyone.
I got you. I got you. It's the song of the year then. Start that one off for us.
Yes. So first one I have is A&W by Lana Del Rey. So again, I don't think it was necessarily my cup of tea. So it's not like my winner's pick. It's not my winner's pick. It's cool for what it is, but it's not necessarily my cup of tea.
Yeah, I struggled with that one. I remember going back through it trying to figure out the A&W thing, and it took me forever to. And I feel like I'm trying to remember how it comes up now, but I feel like it's like not that out of place or whatever. Like it's pretty obvious, but yeah, it took me forever to be like, why is this called A&W? But also not for me. I have a tough time making I don't know, vocalizing that because it just didn't hit for me.
Yeah, it's just not, I guess, the vibe that matches with me particularly. Like I don't think it's a bad song or anything. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yep, I got you. So that was A&W. You're going by song title. Okay, what next?
Antihero. I'm actually going by however order it was listed on the Grammy site.
Oh, fair enough.
'Cause I was just taking the names. It was like, all right.
Here we go.
All right. Okay, Antihero. So Song of the Year lyrics.
This is like Taylor's award, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I won't be surprised if it wins. It's not my pick though.
I got you.
But I won't be surprised if it wins.
Yep. I said the same thing. That song, I personally think that there's better Taylor Swift songs on that record.
Okay.
And that could very well just be my opinion, and that's fine. This is one because now we got Dua Lipa in the mix, and I've talked to you about Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
This is one where I think that the category is just going to be a little bit more excited than the like kind of stripped back, breathy vocal things. So yeah, that was my stance on the Antihero thing yet again.
Yeah, and I guess to give context, Antihero was like the quote unquote lead single of Midnight's.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably why it's, or that is
why it's getting picked all the time. Yeah. And I get like a lot of people love that song, man. Like I see people requesting it and people reacting to it and all that stuff. It's just like it doesn't hit me at like the same as some of the other ones. So
yeah, that's fair.
yeah, but I got it. I got you. Okay.
Okay. Next up, Butterfly by John Batiste. So I'm sorry, but this one's one of the ones that I'm blanking on.
You don't think it's gonna do good?
No, I'm blanking on like
on the song,
like how it sounded and things like that.
That's okay. The intro alone was all it took for me, and I went, this one's gonna win this category.
Oh, really?
Yep. It was like the first 30 seconds. I went, I'm just gonna write it down right now. It was the third song in this list I listened to, and I went, yep, this is the one for me.
Oh wow.
Yep.
All right.
You want me to play?
Yeah, good win.
If I play a second of each song that we forget, then we're gonna be here all night. So
that, and I'm not trying to get you copyrighted.
that too. Yeah, but John Batiste, man, he's quickly becoming a favorite of mine, and I decided that after I wrote this list out. So I'm trying not to be too, what do they call that, biased or whatever. But I feel like by the end of it, I was like, oh, I really like this John Batiste guy. Like at the end of all my notes.
Yeah, he could win it. Like he very well could win it.
Yeah, it just didn't stick out for you though. That one in particular.
No, I probably have to give it another listen, but I think I want to say Worship stuck out more to me than Butterfly.
Fair enough.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Yep. Okay. So we've had A&W, Antihero, Butterfly.
Next up, I have is Dance the Night.
This was a great song, actually.
Yeah. You know it was for Barbie, right?
Yeah, I think I did write that down, or I did read that originally. Banger of a song.
Okay, yeah, cool. It is. So, I don't have it as my pick, but I do enjoy the song, though.
Yep. Same deal. And Dua
I
Lipa
just
is another one of those artists that like I don't quite get, but this song I was like, oh sweet, it's like disco. Can like get into this a little bit.
Yeah, that's actually like the vibe of her last album was like sort of disco-ish 80s sound.
Perfect. Right up my alley.
So,
Right
yeah.
up my alley. Okay. Oh wait, sorry. Did you think that one's
Next,
gonna do okay or what?
I don't think it's going to win, and it's not my winner's pick.
Agreed.
I just think that's not saying it's a bad song, but I just think there's like some stronger competitors in this category.
Yeah. I will say I was pleasantly surprised when I typed in Dua Lipa and that was the song. Like that's what the song sounded like though. I actually really enjoyed that.
Hey, next up is Flowers by Miley Cyrus. This is one of my winners picks.
Yeah.
This is one of my winners picks.
I had this second to Butterfly if it were my choice.
Nice.
Yeah. But again,
Yeah, I
great
would
song.
say, yeah, because I don't think anyone is, because if you notice, like a lot of these nominees are the same from Record of the Year.
Mhm.
I don't think anyone's going to win both of them.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's going
fair.
to be one or the other. So that's why Flowers is I'm also putting it as one of my winners pick because it's like, it'll be cool if Flowers wins like one or the other. And
Mhm.
also, we talked about this, Flowers was just that huge of a song and it resonated a lot with people. So,
Yep. Yeah.
yeah,
Took the world by storm. Yeah.
it did.
I would not be upset about that one winning. I don't know if it will. I would personally like it just because I dig Miley, man. I think she needs nice stuff too.
Yeah. Okay, next up is Kill Bill. So this was my second winner's pick. And while I was saying like record of the year, it wasn't necessarily my pick there, but it is here. Cause like how you mentioned like the wordplay and the lyrics of this song, like it's just fun to sing. And it's like obviously we're not being serious, but just like the overall vibe and the lyrics, this thing is great. And
Yeah.
so I would be happy if this won.
Yeah, and like the Kill Bill thing, like it seems so like cutting, but then the song's kind of like subtle in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought I see what you're getting at. I would take your argument for that. I'll follow you on that one. I like that.
All right.
Is that all of them on this
Uh,
list? Or we got Billie Eilish still, or we do that one already?
Yeah, we still got Vampire and then What Was I Made For?
Right.
So I guess I'm gonna do both of them like all in the same thing, Vampire and What Was I Made For, since we already talked about them. But I don't have them as my winners pick. Personally, What Was I Made For, I could see taking it just based on how like the movie awards have gone, where it's been getting those awards, and just thinking of like lyrics again, I can see this taking Song of the Year more than Record of the Year.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Vampire I don't see taking Song of the Year. Like I liked it, but I just don't see it winning. I think there's other stronger competitors similar to how I feel about Dance Tonight.
Yeah. Well, like they're all solid song structures, but like like Dance the Night and Vampire, they don't have like the structure doesn't change enough for it to be like, oh man, like y'all went crazy on this. You know what I mean? Or like I don't know, there's like for it to be like Song of the Year, songwriter, whatever. I think there's got to be just a little bit more to those couples. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily have like a wow moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't blown away. Like I was content. I just wasn't moved either way.
Is that like a fair description of how I felt about this whole Grammy noms list almost? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. There's some things I'm pretty excited about, but the major majority of it, I'm like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, you're not. I feel a little bit like that, but it's also because like some of my artists are within the nominees, but some of like my top artists, it's not like, oh, I have to see it. Like last year's Grammys, that was something where it's like, oh, this is must see TV.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, all right.
Another year. Oh yeah, last year was
But
it was an upset last year. Anyways, we're not talking about last year. Any
Gotta
other
love
thoughts
the
on
Grammys.
Song of the Year?
No, just to wrap up my thoughts, I would say I'm rooting for Flowers or Kill Bill, but I won't be surprised if What Was I Made For or Antihero takes it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking for John Batiste on this one or Miley on this one. SZA I'd be happy with too. I did like the SZA project.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. What do we got? Best new artist next?
Okay. So best new artist, first up, Gracie Abrams. So I guess to give context, some of these artists I haven't heard, but I know their names. So what I did was go on Spotify and find like what's their most recent popular song, and I listened to that.
Yeah, I did a lot of that too.
So for Gracie Abrams, the song I can't remember the song that I listened to, but overall I liked it. It sort of gave me that early to mid 2010s teenage coming of age film. And sometimes I vibe with that. I don't have her as my winner's pick. But yeah, overall wasn't mad about it.
I got you. I don't I actually did a bad job of notes on this one too. But I did have my guesses were Ice Spice and Victoria Monet for this category.
Okay.
I think that they're probably the two that I've heard the most of. I just got introduced to Coco Jones not long ago, and the others, man, I don't think I've heard of at all, aside from this project here, like what we're doing.
Yeah. I guess honestly for best new artist, we just go overall. My winners picks were Victoria Monet or Coco Jones.
Okay.
Because Coco Jones is also somewhere I'm like, give Coco her things because the music is hidden. The music is hitting. I don't think Ice Spice is gonna take it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I just think she's got so much heat around her right now, like so much attention that I could see that doing well for her. And I'm sure the attention's earned. I don't know a ton about it, but I just everywhere I turn, I see Ice Spice and Sexy Red somewhere, like one or the other.
Yeah. And then sometimes it's interesting because sometimes, especially for best new artist, the Grammys go for the popular choice. And then sometimes they'll go for a choice that was just you didn't think they would win, but they actually won. I want to say it was last year, best new artist was Samara Joy. And she won. Yeah, I think she did win. And that was sort of a surprise. But for me, it was a pleasant surprise. I didn't know any of her music, but I heard her sing. I want to say it's like the pre-show, maybe. I was like, oh,
all right.
Yeah, I want to say she's a jazz singer.
I feel like that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm rooting for Coco and Victoria Monet. Someone who could take it is Noah Khan.
Yeah. I did like Noah Khan, and I'm glad you said the name because I don't know how to pronounce that. But that was a good one too.
Yeah,
I got that
because his song "Stick Season" that blew up. Was that the one you listened to?
If that was on the top of the Spotify, then yeah, or probably yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, my biggest notes were just who I thought was going to win in those ones because that was a weird category. Just to try to find songs, try to get a feel for artists I didn't know.
Yeah.
Do you want to go on to best solo performance? Do you have anything else you want to talk about in best new artist?
That's all my thoughts for best new artist.
I'm with you.
Give Victoria Monet her things.
Give her that,
and also give Coco Jones her things. Like,
did Coco Jones kind of just come up in the last little while, or has she been around for a little while?
So Coco Jones was originally on Disney Channel.
Oh, okay.
Early 2010s, and sort of she recently started blowing up within the past year or two, like R&B music wise.
Yeah.
But I had known her from Disney Channel like years ago. Okay. And so she sort of had like a resurgence lately.
Cool. Okay. I like that. All right. Best solo performance.
All right.
A lot of these were the same, but we had a different Doja Cat. Yeah, it must have been.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, you want to start?
I will. Yep. I wrote mine in artist alphabetical order, so that's gonna be a little different.
That's fine.
Billie Eilish, "What Was I Made For?" Same thing, man. Like, actually, you know what? If we're talking performance, that is a pretty good performance vocal from her. Um,
Yeah.
and like, I know that she sings in that like head voice and that kind of like vulnerable placement of a vocalist, but like that one was pretty, I don't want to say intricate, but like it was risky, man. She took a lot of risks on that one and she did a good job. So I think that was a good performance. I don't have it as my top though.
Okay. Yeah, I think it matches the song. Like you were mentioning, singing in her head voice. I think it's fitting for the song,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of those things where it's like you do it for the song and not just because you want to do it. If that makes sense. It really like gels well with the song.
Yeah, it's like the song had its like time to breathe and be created instead of you just being like, "Hey, check out my pretty voice," right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Doja Cat, Paint the Town Red.
I don't have this as my pick. I actually have to look up the nominees real quick.
That's okay.
I don't have this as my pick. It was a big song though. Like it did blow up.
Yeah.
But I just don't necessarily have it as my pick.
I had it as my second pick after Flowers.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next one would be Flowers, which we've talked about quite a bit now.
Yeah. I would have that as my pick.
For best, so this is pop solo, I think. I just wrote best solo.
Yes.
Pop solo, yeah. And then there's also Olivia Rodrigo, Vampire, and T Swift, Antihero, which I wrote will probably win.
Yeah. Well, I can see Flowers winning this.
Yeah?
Because in my mind, I was thinking like record of the year, song of the year. I was like, if Flowers doesn't get it there, I think Flowers has a strong chance of getting it in pop solo.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So I think who I think should win is Flowers, and who I think will win, I give it to Flowers.
Oh, yeah.
If
That's a solid one, eh?
if Flowers not winning record or song of the year.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, I picked my picks were Flowers or Paint the Town Red. And then I said we'll probably win is T Swift, but again, that'll depend on how the rest of the night goes, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I could see any of these winning. Me personally, I'll probably put Doja's last
Really?
in terms of win.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I
fine.
don't know. I just get the vibe that I don't think it's gonna win.
That's fine. There are like, when you're looking at like if you think about these songs playing on the radio, there are lines in that song that might catch people's attention in a bad way. But I do think that it's smooth and it's quick enough. It doesn't feel like she's trying to force say things. Because there's a couple times, bro, with like T Swift, Olivia wasn't too bad about it. There's a few of them where like they would curse, and I was just like, I don't believe you. Like I feel like you just put that there just to put it there. But like there's other ones where it's like it's real smooth and it just kind of it happens and it comes and goes. It doesn't seem like they're trying to make a point of it. And that was what I got out of that. But anyways.
Yeah.
I'm getting more caught up in the people I don't think are winning than the people I think are winning.
But I overall think Flowers is gonna win, and I think it has a pretty strong chance of winning.
Yeah, the song's a banger too.
It is.
Okay, best pop duo.
Okay.
What do you think of this topic?
One I have to look at.
That's good, man. I can just read them at you. Because these are ones that I did not dive into that far because it was like, I don't know if I can learn Labyrinth and Billie Eilish at the same time. You know what I mean? So like the first song is Never Felt So Alone. And my notes were it's the right kind of weird. It's got all the...
Did you watch Euphoria?
No.
Okay, so Labyrinth does like the music for I cannot talk. Euphoria. So when I heard this song, I cannot remember. But hearing it, I was like, was this on Euphoria? Because it sounds like one of the Euphoria type songs.
Okay.
I think it might have been. I'm not exactly sure. But I don't have it as my winner's pick. But it's a song I'm not mad at.
That's okay. Do you have, or do you know what you would pick in that category?
I'm between two songs in that category. So the first song is Thousand Miles.
Yep, it's my first one.
Is that one that like I liked it when I first heard it on the album, but it just became a grower on me. And then especially maybe it's the pre-chorus I want to say, but that just really like stuck the way it goes into that just really stuck with me.
Okay. Yeah, I remember how it goes now. It's a really good blend of like the old and the new, is what I said. Like, and I always, so we're talking about Thousand Miles, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just blacked out for a second. I always assumed that, I think of, or I always place Brandy Carlisle in like the early 90s. So whenever I see her name, I always think that it's going to be like older kind of pop country, almost like Sass Jordan, if you know who that is.
I do not.
No, that's okay. So then when like they come out and they put together a project like this, and the song is great, it just feels like they're really honoring like the roots of where they came from, as well as understanding like the modern music for me. So that one I actually placed really high as well. I said that one was going to win if I had the choice.
Okay. Yeah. The one thing I think could potentially like knock it is if people will be like, well, is this technically a duo?
Okay.
Because the feature is like, it's just
it's like one verse.
Them singing together in the chorus. Brandy doesn't even have a verse.
Oh, yeah. You're right. You're totally right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I don't know. It's one of my top picks, though, for who I want to win. And then my other one was Ghost in the Machine.
I was just going to ask you what you thought of Ghost in the Machine.
That was one of the songs that really grew on me. And then, in particularly Phoebe's part, like as it's transitioning out of Phoebe, like back into SZA, like that was just a nice time. I have that as one of my topics.
It was interesting because when I got to this project, I was like, Phoebe Bridgers. I was like, I've seen this name and I can't put my finger on it. And then when I found out that, I was like, oh, I've listened to like 30 of their songs, their song 30 times now already. It's like, interesting. And that was kind of the cool thing about this project is like, how many names have we doubled up on already, right?
Yeah.
So it was actually kind of cool.
Yeah, and then even like I remember when I saw like the track list for SOS, I saw Phoebe Bridgers' name. I was like, I was not expecting this as a SZA feature. And then when I heard it, I was like, it works.
It's not bad though, right?
So all right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was there any other ones? Taylor featuring Ice Spice. I'm pretty sure that was like a new version. I like that better than the original Karma.
I actually like the original better
than the
remix.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I didn't say that was going to win though. I think it's going to be Miley and Brandy or SZA and Phoebe.
Yeah. It's not my winner's pick, but honestly, I can't be surprised if it wins.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then the other one was Lana, right?
Was there? Oh yeah, Lana Del Rey and John Batiste. Yeah. Candy Necklace, dude. It wasn't for me either. It was like this. I literally wrote the same thing as I wrote by my last Lana Del Rey. I still don't get it, and I even thought that John Batiste was gonna win some big awards here, and I still don't get the song. So you're not missing much.
Yeah, I just feel like for all of the songs on our project, it's like it's not bad. It's just not necessarily gelling with me.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Did you do a best pop vocal?
The album?
I don't know. We had best pop vocal with a question mark beside it.
Oh yeah. So that's one where I was like, I'm not about to make you listen to like 15 different albums. So for me, because when I looked at the category, I was like, oh, I've heard all of these albums. So did you listen to those albums or?
Oh yeah. But this is gonna be one of those ones where it's like I don't know how much of it I'll be able to recall, but yeah, I went through it all.
Oh wow. Okay.
Come on, bro. I don't fuck around. I might be bad at notes, so I can listen to music. Yeah,
All
I went
right.
crazy on this section, man. Like I went crazy in this section, but yeah.
Okay. First, I'm seeing is "Chemistry" by Kelly Clarkson. Overall, I thought this was a good album. I do remember listening to it when it came out. I feel like this album may need couple of more listens from me for it to really become like one of my like albums that I go back to. But overall, I wasn't mad at it.
I got you. I got you. Do you think that was that your pick? Was Kelly Clarkson?
No.
Okay. I think that she's
Um
the obvious vocalist in the group.
yeah. Well, I feel like pop vocal album is like a loose
That's
term
fair.
because looking looking at the description under it, it just says for albums containing greater than 75% playing time of new pop vocal recordings. So essentially it's best pop album.
Yeah, that's fair. The masses like it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Who'd you have in this category?
I okay, so rest of the nominees were "Endless Summer Vacation" by Miley Cyrus, "Guts" by Olivia Rodrigo, "Subtract" by Ed Sheeran, and then "Midnights" by Taylor Swift. So the winner's pick I had is "Endless Summer Vacation."
Okay. Fair.
Okay. Yeah, that's the album I revisited the most and listened to the most. I don't think this will win, but I wouldn't be upset if it won. Is "Subtract" by
Ed
Ed
Sheeran.
Sheeran.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very sad album.
It had a
But
lot going on though.
yeah, some of those songs like really I thought were really great. So I won't be upset if it won, but I don't think it's gonna win.
Yeah. I actually had as like a like underdog favorite, I had Ed Sheeran. And I had the Miley record up first too. And then I also said that Olivia might do good in that.
Yeah, looking at the list, I think Olivia could also take it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna root for Miley.
Yep. Let's go, Miley. Get your nice stuff.
Exactly.
What'd you think of the rock category?
So this is where I'm gonna lean more on you. I did listen to all of the songs, but like a lot of my notes are like, I liked it. I may not revisit it, but I like it.
A lot of my notes are the same, bro. The Arctic Monkeys, I've never understood. I've never got that
Okay.
band, but I really like this project. I think it shows a lot of maturity. And I think that I feel like this is going to be one of those bands where people are going to be like, he's been singing like that forever. But this is the first time it really like landed. I was like, oh, I get it. You know?
Nice.
So I thought
This
it was
is
cool.
best rock performance.
This is best rock performance. I didn't think that they were going to win.
Okay.
My picks were Black Pumas or the Foo Fighters.
Okay.
Foo Fighters are
Yeah.
dope.
Black Pumas, that was my pick.
Yeah?
Because that was a song I heard. I was like, oh, I may have to revisit this one.
They had all
I
them.
literally in my notes, I have vibe and then in all caps, my pick.
Yeah. It was. It caught me right by surprise, man. It kind of. I think it comes in a little slow, and then it like he's got all them like squalls almost. He's yelling, and it sounds like there's like a guitar mimicking him too. Yeah, really cool track. I would be really excited about that one. The Metallica song, I could give a
Yeah.
fuck about. I love Metallica, but I've heard that song 1,000 times by Metallica already. So
My notes for that says, like the instrumentation, didn't really gravitate towards it though. It was just one of those songs. I don't want to say this because it makes it sound like terrible. But just for me personally, I didn't really gravitate to it and it kind of like played in the background for me.
I got you. Thrash does that though. Like, if you listen to like the earlier stuff, if you're into that, like there are moments of like changes and turnarounds and stuff where it's like, oh shit, like I have to pick up my guitar and play this. But I never got that from this record, and I haven't gotten that from a Metallica record in years and years and years. So that's fine. Black Pumas or
To
Foo
be
Fighters.
honest, I don't know much Metallica, so
That's okay, bro. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Their drummer sucks and should have stuck to tennis. That's all you need to know.
The Foo Fighters song, I do have nice song, and that I could see it winning.
Yeah.
I don't think it was something I would see myself revisiting, but I do have in my notes that it would be one of those songs that will probably sound great live.
Oh, if you haven't seen the Foo Fighters, you would love the Foo Fighters live. It's one of those concerts. What's up?
I had the opportunity to see them, but I saw Shania Twain instead.
Hey, fair enough, bro. Next time, though, you got to go see the Foo Fighters. Because like the minute they come out, you start jumping, and then all of a sudden the concert's over, and you're like, wow, I just jumped for 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I saw him. He had a broken foot. He fell off stage, and he broke his foot. So they built him this throne, and they had lights and everything on it. And I'll send you a video because like him playing guitar and headbanging on a chair and like with a throne put on way more of a show than most people in rock and roll today. It was hilarious.
Oh wow, that reminds me of MJ. Did you ever see that? Like when he broke his foot?
Yeah, and he's sitting there and he's sitting in his chair and
in
he's
a
still
chair,
doing it, right? Yeah, killer, man. Anyways, I was
actually listening to My Hero like the other day.
Great song.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Their drummer passed away. I believe that was last year. So rest in peace, Taylor Hawkins. Yeah, Black Pumas, Foo Fighters, everything else was kind of meh. Arctic Monkeys was kind of cool for me because I never liked them before. I never got them before, but other than that, yeah, I'm good. So let's move on. Alternative music performance.
So what's hilarious is like as soon as you look at the nominees, you're going to see exactly why I included this in here.
Because of Paramore?
Because you already know who my winner's pick is. So.
To be fair, I wrote that they might have won though. Like in that category, very well could have been my favorite.
Yeah. It's like Paramore's album last year was one of my top albums of the year.
Yeah.
So it's like any and everything they can win, give it to them.
Yeah. Well, and I think they're like quitting now too, so they may as well get it.
So they're not quitting. What happened is like their contract, it officially ended. It was like
it's like a 10 record stupid thing or something.
It was like a 20-year contract or something like that.
God.
And so it finally ended. So now they can like move to another label or different things. Like there's more to the story that's sort of really like messed up in terms of that contract, but their contract ended, so they're not breaking up. They're just transitioning to whatever's next.
To whatever they want to do. That makes sense.
Yeah, I want to say they recently like canceled festival performances, and like in their statement they were like, "We'll see you in like the next era" or something like that.
Yeah.
So that implies like there's an album coming,
something coming
at some point. But yeah, I don't think they're breaking up.
Yeah, I think Paramore could win this category.
Okay.
What'd you think?
So I listened to all the other nominees. Belinda Says. It was another one of those songs that gave me like that early 2010s coming of age film. And I wasn't mad at it. I do have in my notes that whenever there was like a little switch into like the bridge, that moment like stuck out to me.
Okay.
I don't have it as my winner's pick, but I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, I wrote that I liked the tones and like the overall sounds of it, but it kind of moved on for me too. Same with the Arctic Monkeys.
Is that Body Paint?
Yep. I thought it was like a cool show of like vocal diversity, but again, like it wasn't my pick.
Yeah, it didn't really make an impression on me. But yeah, it was just sort of, maybe it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, and that's fine. There was also Boy Genius. I didn't write down the song title because it kept reminding me of the Simon and Garfunkel song.
Cool About It. That was the name of it. That's one of the songs that I'm still kind of blanking on.
It made me, I'm not going to lie, man, it made me like really sad. Like it caught me in my feels. Yeah, it was like one of those, like I was pacing around. I was listening to it before this, actually. I was like doing some dishes, just kind of tiding around. And then I found myself just sitting there, like listening to these lyrics, like, fuck, man, like this is like a lot. Like, and then I was like, I got to get out of this, right? So that was like, that one caught me off guard and it caught me in my feelings, but I also didn't think that it's going to win this section. So Well written though. Well written.
Yeah. Um, the other one was A&W by Lana Del Rey.
Yep.
So, like we were saying, it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but looking at the nominees, I could see it. I would love for it to go to Paramore, but I could
Mm-hmm.
also see it going to Lana or Boy Genius.
That's fair. This would be one that, yeah, if it's not Paramore, I actually wouldn't mind the Arctic Monkeys winning that one because that was, I'm pretty sure it was a cool song. It surprised me in a happy way.
Okay.
But okay, great. Anything else for alternative music and performance?
No.
Okay, let's get into the R&B then.
Did we do best rock song?
Nope, just best rock performance, and I skipped right ahead. My bad.
No, you're fine. Okay, I don't remember who all these are by, but first up I have is Angry. I think that was by Mick Jagger.
The Rolling Stones, yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
I have I liked it. I probably won't revisit it.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Um, yeah.
I would say that I'm excited that the Rolling Stones are doing something. And I'm more excited about it because I just watched a documentary about drummers, and I'm watching the documentary of Keith Richards, who was the guitar player. And that made me more
Yeah.
excited than the actual song did that they put out. So yeah, I'm with you. I didn't know that they started off being an R&B tribute band though in like the 60s and 70s. They just covered R&B
Oh,
songs
really?
and tried to make them like, I don't even want to say more rock and roll. It was just like British bands covering R&B, and that's what they did. And they kind of carved their own lane for it. So it's interesting, yeah.
And I was gonna say like that's a 180, but it's like you sort of have some like R&B where you can hear like rock influences in it. So
Yeah, well, we took everything from R&B. Like, as far as I'm concerned, R&B seems to be like the staple of modern music, and I think that it's making a big comeback. But that's a conversation for another time.
yeah. Okay. Next up, Ballad of a Homeschool Girl by Olivia Rodrigo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do remember when I listened to the album, this wasn't necessarily my favorite. I just thought it was okay. It's not, I was gonna say like it's not my pick, but honestly, in this category, I don't necessarily have a pick.
That's fine.
So I'll tell you, okay, this sort of goes off in a tangent. I'll tell you what this does remind me of, and this isn't me like saying one is better than the other, or yeah, it's not me saying one is better than the other, but it reminds me of when Miley dropped Plastic Hearts and how
Mm,
that got ignored, like Grammy nomination wise and things like that. And I think she even went for like the Rock Awards and didn't get nominated.
mm.
And so it just reminds me of like Miley going for it. Have you heard her album Plastic Hearts?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That is a good album.
Great album. I think I could play most of the songs off that
Yeah.
record. Because that was the
Oh,
one
really?
with Billy Idol, and that was the one, like, Night Crawling
Yeah.
was on that. And
Mhm.
yeah, oh yeah, there's a bunch of good ones on that.
Yeah, so it's just like seeing that, it's like, man, it just reminds me, man, I wish Plastic Hearts would have gotten the love that it deserved from the Grammys.
Yep,
Um, but yeah.
that's okay. I didn't really have a pick in that category either. I didn't even make notes about that category, so my bad.
A lot of mine were just, it's decent, it's okay. Probably won't revisit it, but I don't have a pick. If I had to, looking at the nominees, if I had to pick someone, I'll give it to Foo Fighters
Yeah, I'd take the Foo
for
Fighters 10 times
Recipe.
out of 10. And they kind of like, I don't want to say they need it, but like they have a reputation of being the friendliest band in rock and roll, and then their drummer just passed away. Like just passed away. And he was the guy that
Yeah.
was it Miley that was in like she was at a festival somewhere and she had
Yeah.
plane problems and she called Taylor Hawkins. That was the Foo Fighters
Yeah.
drummer that she called, yeah. Which is
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, man, I would love to see them get celebrated because they deserve it.
Yeah, I agree. Because that was in my mind when I was like listening to it and also picking them. But it's also like the song is good enough on its own as well to get it But I guess just overall, I could see them taking it, and I'd be glad that they took it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, so now we're getting to R&B.
Yes.
All right, best performance.
Which one, R&B or traditional R&B?
Let's do best R&B performance to start.
Okay.
Mine starts with Chris Brown's "Summer Too Hot."
Okay. Yeah, we can start there.
What do you think?
I thought it was a cool song.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to.
I
Chris
like it
Brown
with
fans will say.
I like it with the video better than without the video. If I'm being perfectly honest,
Okay,
Chris moving.
I haven't seen a video.
Oh man, it's the same thing. It's just them dancing, walking through the street, a little bit of AI,
Mhm.
but like it just makes everything hit a little bit better for me because he's such a good dancer. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I actually did
Yeah,
not have that one.
I don't have it as my winner's pick. I thought it was a cool song, but I just don't necessarily see me revisiting it. And I also feel like I've heard stronger songs from him.
Yeah.
So, and then also just looking at the other songs nominated in this category, it's not my pick for this one.
Yeah. This is a big category.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that. I like the song. I like the video better. I do think it's a vibe, but I didn't have it as my top pick.
Okay.
Coco Jones, ICU.
That that's so to be quite honest, any of the songs after the Chris Brown song, I would consider my pick.
Really? You like them all, eh?
Yeah. ICU, that's a song that blew up and that's really a good song. So I would be happy if that won because also Coco Jones deserves something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that one.
Coco
That's
Jones
a really good song for me.
was my pick for the winner. I said the runs alone, the walks alone were worth it. Like just stunning, man. Some singers.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Robert Glasper song? Back to
That was a vibe
Back
to
to Love.
me. I was listening to it and I literally have in my notes a vibe and I put R&B with like 4 exclamation points. And I said it's one of those songs where it's like you make like a stank face to it when you're hearing it. Like it's just good. Like that's just a good song. Like I will be happy if that one wins. But that really like took me by surprise.
That's a group I had never heard of, and like right when it came on, I was like, "Oh, okay, here we go." It was like the minute it started.
Yeah, I knew Sir and I knew Alex Isley.
Okay,
So I knew coming in, I was like, oh, this is probably gonna be a great song. And when I heard it, I was like, oh, I've been asleep. I've been missing out on this one. Like that was just a good song.
yeah, I like that. And then we got SZA with Kill Bill again, and Victoria Monet with How Does It Make You Feel?
Yes. So Kill Bill, I would be happy giving Kill Bill Song of the Year. For this category, I don't necessarily it's not necessarily my pick for winning, but I won't be upset about it. How Does It Make You Feel? That is like one of my favorite songs off of Victoria's album. And I'll literally have like just the vocals, it just feels like a warm hug. Like it's just
Yeah,
like because some people will talk about like, oh, you don't necessarily have to do like all these high notes. But like her low notes on this song is literally like a warm hug. It's just comforting.
yep,
So I would be very happy if this won.
yep. It's called How Does It Make You Feel? And I wrote, It Makes Me Feel. Also smooth and easy to follow. I think that's going to be a good one. Like the vocal was so
Yeah.
present. And even like comparatively to these other ones, the Chris Brown one apart because it's mixed a little different. But all these other ones, I think Victoria Monet's vocal was the most clear, which I think will help with the connection, right?
Yeah, possibly.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, I would give it to How Does It Make You Feel, Back to Love, or I See You.
Yeah, I like that. I had Back to Love and How Does It Make You Feel. I had those two as my picks,
Nice.
with a close second on Kill Bill.
Yeah.
All right. How about best traditional R&B performance?
So this category was, I only knew two of the songs in this category. So a lot of these I was coming in new. Simple by, I'm blanking on who this is by.
Hold on. Let me find it. What's it called?
Simple.
Oh, Babyface and Coco
Oh,
Jones.
Babyface featuring Coco.
Yeah.
Yeah. R&B.
Like how it's
I
supposed
literally
to be,
have
right?
R&B. Yes, stank face and all.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah,
just
yeah.
excellence.
Oh, man.
So I would be happy with this one.
It was my pick. Right out of the gates. I don't even think I wrote the other ones down yet. I was like, yeah, I think this is going to win. Great feel, man. Great vibes on that one.
Yeah, when the music hits, it hits.
Yep. That's all it takes. Kenyon Dixon, Lucky.
Yeah, that was my first time listening to this song, and I think it's a nice song. It wasn't necessarily my pick, but I do think it's a nice song.
I thought it was real cool. I didn't think it was very exciting, but I thought it was a cool song.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
PJ Morton again, featuring Susan Carroll. And
I thought it was a nice song, and it's fitting for the title. I'll say that.
yeah, it gave me a smile real quick, right out the gates. I was like, oh, this is kind of nice.
Like it literally sounds like you're a morning type song, so
yeah,
it fits with the title.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's always where I want my R&B though. Maybe it is.
It just depends on what kind of mood you're in. I didn't have this as my pick. Yeah, it was a nice song though.
How about Love Languages by SZA?
That has to be one of my picks. It's one of my top three picks. That's just a good song. Like that's one of the songs that I played repeatedly off of that album. Like just from start to finish, it's just a good song.
Great context, man. I love like the love languages thing. That's a big popular topic these days. I thought it was great. I love the little bit of like self-worth kind of like alignment too. Yeah, it was a great song. Great song.
Yeah, I could see this winning and I would be happy if it won.
Yeah. My next one was my like official pick because I picked Babyface and Coco Jones before I listened to the rest. Then when we got to Victoria Monet, Earth, Wind and Fire, Hollywood. Yeah. Throw the book away, man. That was it. That was it.
For one, you get Earth, Wind and Fire on a song?
Yeah.
Oh, you're taking it.
That's the thing. Like, it's like cheating.
Look. Like, it's just excellence. Give Victoria Monet her things.
Yep. I think they should give her a record with, like a whole album with Earth, Wind and Fire, because I thought that went so well.
Yeah. And then especially like on the album, it plays well as well.
What's that, sorry?
Because we didn't, on the album, it plays well. We didn't pick best R&B album to go to, but her album is really good.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites of the year.
Okay. Yeah, I said like my notes for this one was like the vocals alone, I would give them the Grammy if it was up to me. Earth, Wind and Fire start coming in, man. Like,
yeah. Smooth. And then also, if they win, her daughter also wins a Grammy.
Oh yeah, because she was on that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was she doing again? Was that the one where like she kind of had the baby in the background and it was like talking and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah.
New little Blue Ivy in the making.
Exactly. But I would have Simple, Hollywood, and Love Language as my three I'm rooting for. As far as who will win, honestly, it could be those three.
Yeah. I think Hollywood will win. I think people are going to love that Earth, Wind, and Fire were there.
Yeah, that could very well be true.
All right, man. Is this the last one we got now? Best R&B song?
Yeah. All right. So first one up is Angel by Hallie. I actually like this song. I didn't have it as my winner's pick because of just how strong the category is.
Yep.
But overall, I like the song.
I had it as not my pick, but could be a probably win.
Yeah, I
Tough
don't
one though.
know.
It's a
I
tough
don't
one though.
know. Yeah, because I want to say best R&B song last year went to Cuff It. So they did go with
Right.
the, I guess, quote unquote popular choice.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So what would that be in this group then? It would probably be either Angel or On My Mama, right?
I would say for me it's between On My Mama, I See You, and Snooze.
Okay.
Because Snooze really blew up.
It was a great
Like
vocal
blew up,
performance on
blew
that
up.
one.
Yeah. I think the only one we haven't talked of only other one we haven't talked about was Snooze. But yeah,
Mm,
that's one of my favorites off of that album. And it became like I think it's the most recent single off the album. And it needs to become a single.
that's
And it
the
shows why, because it like went up the charts.
yeah. And you said that that was more a more recent single too, eh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like past couple of months.
Huh.
Like it wasn't new. It wasn't like a new song that she put out. They just said, "Oh, let's make this song and the next single or something like
Interesting.
that." So actually not even past few months, maybe like 6 months or something like that.
Okay.
But it was like doing good on the charts. So I could see Snooze taking it, or honestly, I would give it to Snooze or On My Mama.
That's fair. I actually like the stars that I thought like the ones I put stars beside of the ones that I think could win, like not my opinion, but could
Mhm.
win. I had ICU in there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that as well because that was also a song that everyone was playing around.
Yeah.
around. So yeah.
Yeah. That was one thing that I will admit. It was about 50-50 this year's in songs that I was like, oh shit, I have heard this. And then songs where I was like, no, I've never heard this before. I thought it was gonna be a lot
Yeah,
more like recognizable, but no, it was about 50% of them that I was like, I'd never heard this before in my life.
yeah, most of the rock ones I never heard before. Some of the R&B ones, I was like, oh wow, there are like a number of these I haven't heard before, but some of them I knew. Pop, I basically knew all of them.
You're with it though. You're with the times and you keep up on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but recently, am I though? Because some of these, I feel like this is a sign of you getting older is when you start looking at certain artists or they announce them, you be like, who?
Bro, how do you think I feel?
Oh my gosh. Because I'm not even gonna say a name, but one of these nominees that they're in a category we've discussed. But I remember when I first heard of them, it was on like an award show or something like that, and they said their name. I was like, who? I was just so confused. I was like, I've never heard of you before.
Yep.
Where did you come from? And so it's just like,
That's okay. It just goes to show how we can be aware, we could try to be aware, but it doesn't always work, right?
it doesn't.
Yep. Do you have any final remarks you would like to add to this Grammys conversation?
Oh, I forgot to say something.
What's up?
Grammys, they better air the R&B categories on the main telecast.
Shit, I didn't even think about that. I remember that being a complaint.
Yeah, because they like to they do a bunch of awards like on the pre-show ceremony. They stream that like online, but it's not like on TV.
Doesn't get the
And so a lot of times they like to put the R&B categories on that pre-show ceremony. And last year they did have best R&B song during the main show, but that went to Cuff It.
mm-hmm.
And I remember like, because normally like the day of they release like, oh, here are the categories is going to be on the pre-show. Here are the ones that's going to be on the main show. And I remember when I saw R&B song on the main show, I was like, I sort of gave me the hint. I was like, did Beyonce win this? Is this why y'all are
be a reason to
putting
have it
this
on,
on
right?
the main show?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was also like getting close to when she was about to break the record.
Oh, right,
I was like,
right. Yeah.
Is this why y'all are putting this on here? But I hope not. It's like I want to see Victoria Monet on that stage on my TV accepting her award.
Mhm.
So
Getting her nice things. I
exactly.
gotta start using that.
Look, that's not even original for me. I saw that on Twitter and I've heard other people saying it. It's like, you know what? I like it. I'm gonna use it.
Yeah. There you go. I heard it here. I like it. I'm gonna use it. Well, I appreciate you hanging out with me, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you do more stuff like this because you are very fun to watch in these videos.
Look, I try. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it misses. We don't know.
That's okay. It's just the same as all these Grammy nominations.
Exactly.
All right, man. I appreciate you being here. BEL friends, be kind to us in the comments. We'll catch you all on the next one.